let me talk a little bit about the customer experience imperative. And in particular, we're releasing today our latest customer experience impact report. As you know, we do this research every year. We hire Harris Polls to do it for us. It's the 5th year that we've done it. We're unveiling it this morning. It's available on our website. I think there are copies around. I encourage you to get one. I'm just going to highlight a few of the findings here. So let's take a look at it together. No big surprise, consumers have strong feelings about customer experience. In fact, nearly all of the consumers we talk to have stopped doing business with a company because of a bad experience. And most will never go back after a bad experience. This should scare us a little bit. Also, many customers that have had a negative experience have told their friends about it. And with the advent of social networks, their ability to tell lots of friends has been greatly magnified. So the critical new finding in this year's study is that nearly half of the consumers we talk to have switched to a competitive brand solely because of the reputation of that other brand. This is an interesting finding because now it's not just based on personal experience, it's what friends and networks and reviews online say about companies that determine purchase behavior. So let's make this real. We're all consumers. Think about a time when a vendor didn't meet your expectations. Think about the frustration you felt. Think about the anger. Think about these things. I have a personal experience. I have 2 boys off in college, and last spring, our oldest son was coming home, and he shipped his computer home. And unfortunately, we had made arrangements for it to be left, but didn't happen, and we were gone on family vacation. Long story short, it got returned back to the sender, who wasn't there. And in the process, it got damaged. Now, we had insurance on it, but my son's back at school now, and the situation still hasn't been resolved. In fact, my wife, who's here with me today, took on the task and called the shipper every week all summer long. And each time she called, she had to start all over from scratch. Who are you? Why are you calling? Oh, yeah, I don't have a record of that last conversation. It was a miserable experience, and it's become personal at this point with my wife. But in today's world, with the tools we have available, there is no excuse for any company not to have continuity of relationship between communications. Why wasn't it that the second call went something like, oh, yes, I see you called last week. Yes, I can see it got routed to so-and-so. Well, they haven't done anything, but let me get on them. That would have been better than, could you start over from scratch, right? So do you think consumers today are more tolerant of bad experiences? Think about yourself. Are they more tolerant of bad experiences? No, less. Well, these sorts of experiences and the statistics in this customer experience impact report, as I said, should scare us. As businesses, it is a mission-critical endeavor to figure out how to deliver exceptional customer experiences so we can keep the customers we have. There is some good news in the report, I'm happy to say. The number one purchase influencer is word of mouth. Again, this feedbacks to the prior theme. And customer experience is the number one reason consumers recommend other firms. Again, this just points to the imperative around customer experience. We've got to get this right. And here's a new finding. 85% of the people we talked to said they would spend more for a better experience. Well, this is an interesting finding. In fact, on average, consumers would pay 10% more for a good customer experience. So what does that really mean? Let's take consumer electronics. We have some consumer electronics companies in the room. That industry is about $165 billion a year. If they embraced better customer experiences, that means that industry would generate another $16.5 billion this next year. Or if you take the retail industry, we have some retailers here. Last year on Cyber Monday, there was about $887 million in retail sales through e-commerce sites in the US. If those companies embraced a customer experience strategy that delivered better customer experience, they could have generated another $87 million on that one day. And the airline industry, latest reports say that the US airline industry is heading for about a $2 billion deficit this year across all the carriers. If they adopted better customer experience and were able to substantiate it with their consumers, not only would they eliminate the debt of the entire industry, they'd also generate an incremental $10.6 billion in revenue. This is a big, big opportunity for us. And it's one that all of us, with our respective management teams, have got to get our arms around and wrestle with, to think of it as a lever to drive revenues and profits. The customer experience is the number one business imperative in any high-volume consumer business, really in any organization that's got lots of constituents.